Peter Franklin is also a vet. Your kids are in the military, right? And you're a veteran as well, Peter?
I am a retired veteran. There is a difference. Veteran is somebody who was just in the Army for a couple of years, maybe a week and a half, 3 days. Mm-hmm. I'm not diminishing that, by the way, just making wise guy. Yeah. But a retiree is somebody who did like 20 or 30 years. In my particular case, I did 70 years.
70 years. It's been a long time. Yeah, Peter's really 117.
Right.
You don't know that.
Thank you for your service, Peter.
Happy to see me leave.
I did want to ask you your thoughts on this whole NFL thing.
I think, as usual, Donnie should have called me up and said, hey, Pete, I'm thinking of saying such and such a thing. Should I say it? And I would have said, no, forget about it. Ignore it. To go away.
Yeah.
But he has to go say what he has to say. And I think a lot of that's under the advice of his 3 idiot children, frankly. And he gets himself into that kind of a mess again where this thing has gotten so blown out of proportion. Most people don't care about the NFL, contrary to what the illusion has created. I don't know. How many people do you know that actually ever went to a game? I mean, I'm talking about the world, the Super Bowl.
We've all been. Super Bowl is different. I have been to a Super Bowl.
Well, you're a celebrity, okay? That was a bad example.
It was and red carpet, and they actually.
But I mean, most normal human beings are so detached from it, and I'm not denying that it isn't a popular sport for a lot of people to watch. But the thing got blown out of proportion. Also, I think there's a lot of other issues going on here. I think a lot of it's being done because some of the people don't like Trump. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of people are going on because they perceive some real racism, although I'm not sure how that works when you're making millions of dollars working for the NFL. Yeah. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, but it really was created by him making a comment about it. He should have mumbled jerks and let it go.
Yeah, I am, and I'm not always 100% with you, Peter, but I am in this case. I just think he's. There are so many other big things going on, and maybe the brilliance of Trump is that he knows that, and he wants this distraction so that he can work on the stuff that's really needs to be worked on. But I'm not
also, that's
sure.
him. I mean, listen, it may turn out to be, depending on what's going to happen here with Korea. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a pretty good chance we could get ourselves involved in a war, maybe by being a tough, crazy guy. He's not crazy. Maybe he's going to keep us out of it because maybe the Rocket Man. Ooh, am I allowed to say that?
You have to
Rocket
sing it.
Man. Yeah, you got to sing it when you say it.
The Rocket Man might say, I better not fool around with this guy. So, I don't know.
The city continues to struggle to stem the shelter population. The number of homeless people on the streets of New York have risen, according to a report. Is that true?
Yeah, it's going up, and it's going up, and it's going up. And, frankly, most of it is really mismanagement. What happened is once upon a time, if there was a problem in the city with homeless, it was kind of taken care of by the cops. The cops don't want to have anything to do with it, so they set up the system that instead of calling 911, which is a cop thing, you would call 311, and then a sociologist would go out and kind of try to handle the situation. The point being that cops don't know how to handle homeless. Well, I can tell you, the sociologists don't know how to do it either. So the whole system is kind of deteriorating. I'm not proposing that we go out and beat up homeless or anything like that. They don't even know what planet they're on. But this whole system now is ineffectual. You can't sit down with a guy who hasn't eaten in 3 days, is worried about his sick wife, and kind of discuss to him why he should try to change his life.
Yeah. How about this thing where they all gathered with their dogs, and the dogs were eating apple cookies and sipping water, and what was this event?
I see you're bringing up an anti-Semitic story, aren't you?
Oh, that's exactly where I'm going.
Your true colors are coming out now.
You sucked me right in.
Let me ask you a question. You're a reasonable person. Do you think it's strange that a group of people would get in Central Park, Jewish people, I presume, get in Central Park and try to teach their dogs how to understand Yiddish? I mean, if that isn't from a Jackie Mason comedy routine.
I think that'd be funny.
Yes, it is funny, and that's what's so wonderful, and that's why I'm sharing with your listeners. Yeah. A group of people are actually doing that. Oy vey, Siprova, oy vey.
Well, right, you got to be able, because a dog will, if you speak that way to the dog, I'm assuming the dog would follow a Yiddish command, I would assume.
Did you ever hear the story about the Jewish guy who was traveling in North Korea, and he went into what looked like a Chinese restaurant, and he couldn't believe his eyes, Korean restaurant. And he goes in there, and everybody's talking Yiddish. So he goes over to the owner of the restaurant and says, I don't understand. This is a Korean restaurant in the middle of North Korea, and all the waiters are talking Yiddish. What's going on? He says, shh, they think it's English.
I want to ask you your opinion on Anthony Weiner. This is off script here this morning, but you know that he was crying and weeping yesterday.
Well, I don't know how much of that was real, but I feel sorry for the guy. I mean, I really do. I feel sorry for anybody who's sick. You know, and he's sick. He got a problem. But the danger, I keep telling everybody, and nobody will listen to me, is Huma. Huma's parents are active in the Muslim Brotherhood. I see in this a whole master scheme where they joined forces with Andrew Weiner because he was going to turn out to be the first Jewish president, and they were going to control the country. How's that for a story?
Can I ask you, why is she still with him? I mean, it's crazy,
I don't think
isn't
she
it?
is. They're filing for a divorce.
Oh, they are?
No, well, she was with him yesterday, and she said their relationship is quite normal, is how she characterized it.
Yeah, I think it is. He's a normal guy. She's normal. No, but I mean, seriously, I think the threat is her. I mean, I really do. I mean, her family is like pure evil, and I find it so curious. It's like from a James Bond movie that a Muslim family that's active in the Muslim Brotherhood should hook up with some Jewish guy who's on his way to the White House. And Weiner was. He almost became mayor of the city of New York.
Well, Hillary had an inside track on the White House more than.
Well, also Hillary and also Chuck Schumer. You know, we have a senator which we jointly share. He created Weiner. Weiner was his buddy. He was his protege. And you notice Schumer hasn't said a word about it at all.
Yeah, they're running from him. One more.
But he created this guy. So, I mean, there's a lot of little side stories going on here. But look, you stay upstate and don't get involved in this stuff. Just relax and stay on your farm.
There is a state senator out there who introduced legislation that would prohibit the forced microchipping of employees as a condition of employment in New York State. I mean,
did you even know they were doing that?
I've never. I knew they did it with dogs. I didn't know they were talking about doing it to humans.
But actually some companies that were enlisted or named that actually make that a requirement of employment. I was just absolutely flabbergasted to see that something like that. I mean, even if there's one company in the United States that do it, what are they, crazy? So plaudits to that state senator for picking that up on that. That's absolutely, I mean, somebody's going to come into you tomorrow and say, hey, Bill, we want you to continue with the station for as long as you want to, but we want to put a little chip in your hand so we know what you're doing.
And that's the point that there are companies out there that are apparently doing this, not just doing it throughout the world, but doing it in New York State.
Yeah, which is amazing because we like to think of us as, you know, we're number one, numero uno. We always have all the social changes and what have you. And that somebody been doing it here. I don't know how you could look at somebody in a straight face. That's a great practical joke. Calling your staff this afternoon, and with a straight face, I want you to tell me putting chips into them.
Everybody gets a chip. And finally, declaring war on bottomless brunch. A longtime East Village resident sued the state liquor authority, arguing it's failing to enforce laws on the books banning limitless booze.
Yeah, well, I stole that headline from the Daily News when they said bottomless brunch, because you know what everybody immediately thinks of? It's a bunch of waitresses serving the booze bottomless. But that's not what they meant. They meant this very... But what it really is that it's just too many liquor stores they're complaining about and too many bars. It used to be there were a lot of severe restrictions. Now they're kind of letting anybody who wants to set up a bar.
Okay.
Up here, that's great.
Set it up. Bring it on. All right, Peter, good stuff. Best tour in New York City. He'll take you to places, including bottomless brunch places, wherever you'd like to go. But also, Peter will take you to places that you didn't even know existed in New York City.
You'll get everything you got coming to you.
Yeah, it'll happen. Peter Franklin, it's Gabby.com. Peter, thanks. We'll talk next week.
Bye-bye.